Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from an inmate at the county jail. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. To accept charges, press 1. To refuse charges, press 2.
Tommy, how are you? Well, yeah, that's true. But then again, you are in jail, so what do you expect? Good, good, yeah. Well, there is a possibility you could go to trial, you could be convicted, and then you can wind up in prison. And that's where I take over. I'll help you navigate through the ups and downs of prison and then help you when you get out. But, it's all up to you. You're the one who knew what you were doing, committed this crime, and you got caught, and this is what happens. There's always a risk, and I know it is tough out here, and I would say there's about 20% of the people in prison are there because of an addiction, but the ones who are in prison, there's about 60% that commit a violent crime, and they need to be there, and you're going to be stuck with a bunch of violent offenders, and a lot of them have nothing to lose. They figure that they're in for life, and if anybody gets in their way and they wind up killing this person, nothing's going to change anything for them. So those are the ones you need to watch out for. They're the most dangerous people on the planet, and it bothers me that people are locked in with these folks, but that should be a deterrent. That should have helped you to stay straight. But an addiction, that's a tough one. Well, I know. I For me, I wanted to get a good job, so I went to school, got a degree, and I got out, and I was pretty successful. I was very happy, and I don't want to change anything in my life. I never needed to use a drug. I was always happy with the way things went, and I was able to sit down and figure out things to get through, and so that worked for me. And I know after talking to people that are locked up, it's not always the case. There's a lot of situations out there that people get caught in, and I imagine if I'd got caught into them as well, I might have ended up on the same path. And so my upbringing was a blessing for me. But for you, the things that happened in your life, it was tough. And that's why we need people like you to talk to folks, to mentor people, to help them navigate. And we need you to take advantage of the stuff that's out there. I believe the US government should help folks that are less fortunate. If you get addicted, there should be services, and they should be free to you, that will allow you to get counseling or psychological assistance to help you overcome this addiction. And there should be a group of people, a medical team, that works with you on a regular basis. People kind of like Alcoholic Anonymous, AA, where you could call somebody or visit somebody or text somebody whenever you felt down. And we have suicide prevention hotlines
You have 60 seconds
that
remaining.
are working pretty good. And so if you could get out and advocate for something like that or join groups that are working toward it, you could make a difference. And keeping busy like that, concentrating on the good, could help you stay out of trouble. Yeah, I know we've been saying that for a long time, and it's up to you. You're the one that can succeed or fail. You can't blame that on anybody else.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Okay, well, I do appreciate the call, and stay in contact with your family and talk to the people that are in the jail. Talk to your attorney. and keep the conversation going, because the more you're aware of what's happening around you and what got you into this mess, the easier it is for you to get out and to do the right thing and to share your knowledge with others. Okay, well, good. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you for using Inmate Call. Goodbye.
Hello, welcome to AQS Inmate Call. I am your host, Joel Wilborn, and I have a degree in political science, so I really enjoy talking about politics. I do it a lot on my X account and on my YouTube channel. I'll do a few little political things here and there. And it's just something that I like to do to pass the time, good hobby of mine. But I don't talk too much about it on this podcast because I want to concentrate mainly on prison reform and advocacy. But I do want to discuss it today because I think it has a big impact on our criminal justice system and our penal system. And the reason I think that is because here lately there's been these protests that's been going on, protesting law enforcement and protesting King. And there's been people that want to advocate for socialism or communism. And I just want to give you a little insight on what my background and what I've learned about the form of government here. Now, when the United States was created, it was created not as a democracy, but as a constitutional republic. And that means we don't elect the leaders of the country. We don't go out and vote for the president of the United States. We vote for representatives. And then we have an electoral college that's based on our population so that one state, won't have all this power to elect folks because of the popular election. We have electoral college that's based on the population of a state and the representatives within that state. So we can vote equally with the other states in the continental United States, or I should say the United States. And I like that system. And I know we have complaints about the Electoral College, but when the Constitution was written, it was designed not to give one person or one branch total domination. So you have three branches that are based on the Constitution, and then we vote for representatives and we cast our vote for the Electoral College. And these Electoral College people can actually sit down to vote and vote for somebody other than what their state wanted them to vote for. It's very rare that that happens, but they have that option. So when you think democracy and the people are saying our democracy is threatened, we're not the ones that vote for the leader. That's picked up by the Electoral College. And we're not the ones that vote for the way the government is run. So if we want a new form of, let's say, medical care, our representatives are the ones that vote for that. And so if we have an issue, we should be able to talk to our representatives, and that could be the members of Congress, who will then speak on our behalf. And so when we're criticizing people in Congress, and these people go home and they have their town hall meetings, and their constituents are saying, we're happy with the work you're doing, we could criticize these Congress members, till the cows come home. But these folks are doing what they were elected to do. They're representing their people. They're the voice for their constituents. If the people are against abortion, these Congress people vote against abortion and will fight to keep abortion illegal. But if their constituents want abortion, then their Congress members will go and push for that. And then other people in other states will say these folks are terrible because they support this either way. But they're representing their people. So when you're criticizing the members of Congress, you're criticizing their constituents, you're criticizing Americans. That doesn't bring us all together. It's just a reason to divide. I think in school, people should learn what a constitutional republic is and the difference between that and a democracy and why we go by this, why we were so bent on the Constitution. I strongly believe in the Constitution. It is specifically designed to keep kings out. We don't want a dictator. We don't want somebody that will make all of the decisions for us. We voted against that years ago. We went to war to stop that. And most of the wars that we do fight in are to save our system of government. It's not the best, but it's a great system of government. And I really enjoy living in the United States, especially when I compare it to other countries. And then you got people that say they want socialism. I don't think they really understand what communism and socialism is. If you're living in a country where you have freedom of speech, where you can elect your officials to represent you in national matters, to me, that's a good thing. I don't want the government controlling my medical care or taxing me to the umph. I don't want them running the electric company or the water company and all the public facilities or public utilities. I don't want all the public utilities run by the government. And I don't want to have my privacy put out to the point where it could just be revealed. I like freedom of speech. I like privacy. I like that we have independent companies run public utilities and then even city and state that will get involved in it. I like the fact that we have states equally represented. If we do socialism, it could easily bend power toward the government officials, and corruption could be high. That is a possibility under socialism. A lot of the socialist states, they're taxed about 50%, while the United States is like 10 to 30% taxes. And in socialist and communist countries, you have a tendency of the government having complete control. And even though a lot of these socialist countries are democratic and the majority of the votes go to the winner could easily be corrupted. And there could be widespread fraud and abuse in a country like that because they're not required to share information with you. Government officials can do things and justify it. And the people really don't have much of a choice because they're the ones that put them in office. But in the United States, we have a little more freedom. And I don't want to give that up. So I hope people who are voting toward socialism really know what they want. And they look at these other countries and they're willing to pay for everybody. So if a person is addicted, then in a socialist country, they have to pay for all of the medical services and treatment. Or if a person is just lazy, doesn't want to work, they can get discounts on everything or free services. I like the fact that in the United States that people go to prison and get out and the government assists them. A lot of the people that I work with that get out of prison, I'll lean them toward resources. And there's a lot that's out there that can really get them set up. But of course, it's up to the individual to do the right thing. We don't want to create lazy people. Imagine having your kids and you give everything to these children. You don't encourage any independence. I think you would be upset if this child is just, pompous and uncaring and very selfish. But it's something that you train these children to do. And having a government that we pay like 50% of our income to care for us, and there's no innovation, no desire to improve. When it comes to medical care, that's a big thing that a lot of the socialist supporters like. Everybody gets this medical care. In the United States, if you join the military, you'll get medical care pretty much for the rest of your life. And not everybody can join the military. And those that can't, those who have medical disabilities, the government should help these folks because who else is going to do it? And I support that. With Americans making money and keeping more of it, it's easier to boost the economy and it's easier to bring in more money so that we could support folks that are unable to work a full-time job or unable to care for themselves. We should fund health facilities that work with the mentally ill or people who are just to the point where they can't take care of themselves, or those who are addicted to something. So we have a country that ranks number one and medical innovations. If there's going to be a vaccine for an epidemic, most likely it's going to come from the United States. If we're going to find a cure for a chronic illness, most likely it's going to come from the United States, not a socialist country. Because these people, they're motivated to give the public what they need. The mantra of a capitalist society, let's say you want to go out and you want to make millions, you have to find out what the public wants and you give it to them. A socialist country, it's up to the government to do that. So these people are trusting that their government officials are going to find a cure for their illness. In the United States, we got a bunch of people that says, I can become successful if I give the public what they want. Elon Musk doesn't go out to say, I want to make millions. He goes out and says, I want to do something for society. I want to make a name for myself. He wants to use modern technology to help people to move, those who are invalid, or he wants to help the blind to see. He wants to give the public electric cars so we don't have to depend on gas as much, and that we can have this technology. I mean, look at a Tesla. If you want to key a Tesla, the Tesla's got cameras. It's got ways to track and protect itself. And that's what he wants to offer to the public. And then imagine you're wounded. Maybe you break your arm. And you can get into your Tesla, and your Tesla will get you to your appointments, get you to shopping, get you to work. And you don't really have to use both your arms to get around. And he's constantly trying to figure out ways. So he's giving the public what they want, and he's profited from that. Amazon does that. Microsoft does that. Apple. These you're not going to find in a socialist country. And people are getting so spoiled over here thinking socialism is going to help them, not realizing that whoever's in office is going to have a lot of control over their daily activities. I just can't fathom doing that. And I'm a big proponent for increasing the resources to help people stay away from crime. Let's not be reactive, let's be proactive. We've got people who commit crimes and are sitting in prison. We know there's something that motivated them. Let's demotivate them. Let's take that thought away from them. Educate them to the point where crime shouldn't be one of their options. They should have resources they should be able to go to that can help them get out of their bad situation. Now remember, there's like 60% of the people who are incarcerated are violent offenders. They should be in prison. Why are they committing these violent crimes? What motivates a person to rape somebody or assault somebody or to murder somebody? What is in their mind? What is going through that we can learn and apply it to others? One thing socialist countries don't have is a high incarceration rate. We incarcerate more people than anybody else, and we accept that. Why can't we be a country where people don't want to commit crimes? Because the things that they're looking for in the crime can pretty much be resolved in other ways, and mainly because we educate them for that. It's really easy to work with people and help them to feel better about themselves and motivate them to stay within the law. I mean, fighting folks that are arresting criminals, going out and protesting against the government when the government wants to go in and remove criminals. I mean, I can't see the logic in that. That would be dealt with harshly in a socialist country, and most likely a socialist country would do a lot of government control and government policing. And folks don't realize that until they live in a socialist country. If they love it so much, there's a lot of socialist countries out there. So I'm just a big proponent of capitalism and a constitutional republic. I like that. I don't want to give up my ability to survive on my own, to speak out, to choose my medical services. I don't like that. Because I take advantage of what the United States has to offer, I really have no need to commit a crime or to use illegal drugs. And look at the other countries. See what socialism impresses you so much. And look at why their incarceration rate is lower than the United States. What can we concentrate our money on? We independently can do more in the United States than if we gave all our money to the government to do. We could start a business and hire people so that they're not homeless, so that they don't feel useless. And we can encourage people to use their talents. We got artists out there. We have people who are very good with physical work, like they can be in the lumber industry, or they could be in forestry services. They can get into construction. And if we start concentrating more on that than gender identification or woke, hiring a certain number of minority people, or we have to concentrate on a person's gender or race or political affiliation. I mean, why is that so important to us? We've got the resources to have a healthy, productive country, and we should use it, and our crime rate will go down. But we just need to concentrate on that and stop getting caught up in this social media and this agenda that the mainstream media is trying to show you, and concentrate on things that really matter to us. Family should matter to us, our faith, our neighbors, community. And I think it'd be easier to wake up in the morning and turn on the news when we see people coming together. And when I greet a person who comes out of prison, and to see that this person says, I don't want to go back. And the best time to get to them is when they first walk out, because it's fresh in their mind, all the nonsense they were going through in the prison. And then to work with them to the point where they don't. I really enjoy speaking to people who got out of prison 5 years ago and haven't had any problems. But it's up to that individual. But we can give them the resources that they didn't know they had before, or that didn't even exist before, because we didn't know that these resources needed to be out there. And if you want to make a lot of money, what is it that the public needs? And one of them is a drop in crime. Concentrate on that. What can you do to reduce this crime and make America better than it was 100 years ago, or even 5 years ago? Well, I hope you sit around and talk with your friends and family and discuss these matters and work on ways to improve your income and accept a constitutional republic, and to bring down the prison population. The people we look at in the mirror, those are the ones who can do it. Thanks for tuning in, and have yourself a glorious day, and make fantastic memories for tomorrow.